1976, it mandates equal treatment and tolerance for all religions. India does not have an official state or religion. It enshrines the right to practice, preach, and propagate any religion. Despite the current controversies surrounding religious freedom in India, no religious instruction is imparted in government-supported schools. In S.R. Bomay versus the Union of India, the Supreme Court of India held that secularism was an integral tenet of the Constitution and that there was a separation of state and religion. Freedom of religion is a fundamental right according to the Indian Constitution. The Constitution also suggests a uniform civil code for its citizens as a directive principle. This has not been implemented until now, as directive principles are constitutionally unenforceable. The Supreme Court has further held that the enactment of a uniform civil code all at once may be counterproductive to the unity of the nation, and only a gradual progressive change should be brought about. In Maharishi Avadesh versus the Union of India in 1994, the Supreme Court dismissed a petition seeking a right of mandamus against the government to introduce a common civil code, and thus lay the responsibility of its introduction on the legislature. Major religious communities not based in India continue to be governed by their own personal laws. Whilst Muslims, Christians, Zoroastrians and Jews have personal laws exclusive to themselves, Hindus, Jains, Buddhists and Sikhs are governed by a single personal law known as Hindu personal law. Article 25(2)(b) of the Constitution of India states that references to Hindus include persons professing the Sikh, Jain or Buddhist religion. Furthermore, the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 defines the legal status of Jains, Buddhists and Sikhs as legal Hindus but not Hindus by religion. Supreme Court in 2005 gave verdict that Jains, Sikhs and Buddhists are part of broader Hindu fold, as they are Indic religions and are interconnected to each other, though they are distinct religions. Interesting and possibly also quite controversial. What are the aspects of religion in India? Well, religion plays a major role in the Indian way of life. Rituals, worship and other religious activities are very prominent in an individual's daily life. It is also a principal organizer of social life. The degree of religiosity varies amongst individuals. In recent decades, religious orthodoxy and observances have become less common in Indian society, particularly among young urban dwellers. Rituals. The vast majority of Indians engage in religious rituals daily. Most Hindus observe religious rituals at home. Observation during ritual procedures. Purification, usually with water, is thus a typical feature of most religious action. Other characteristics include a belief in the efficacy of sacrifice and the concept of merit gained through the performance of charity or good works that will accumulate over time and reduce sufferings in the next world. Muslims offer 5 daily prayers at specific times of the day indicated by adhan, which is called prayer from the local mosques. Before offering prayers, they must ritually clean themselves by performing wudu, which involves washing parts of the body that are generally exposed to dirt or dust. A recent study by the Sakar Committee found that 3 to 4% of Muslim children study in madrasas, which are Islamic schools. Diet. Dietary habits are significantly influenced by religion. India is the country with the largest vegetarian population. Some Indians practice lacto-vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is less common amongst Sikhs and is even less common amongst Muslims, Christians, Baha'i, Parsis, and Jews. Jainism requires monks and laity from all its sects and traditions to be vegetarian. Furthermore, the religion also bars Jains from eating any vegetable that involves digging it from the ground. This rule therefore excludes potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, garlic, radish, etc. from the Jain diet. Islam and Judaism ban pork, of course. Ceremonies. Occasions like birth, marriage, and death involve what are often elaborate sets of religious customs. In Hinduism, major life cycle rituals include annapration, a baby's first intake of solid food, upanayam, I'm so sorry about how I'm pronouncing this, which is a baby sacred thread ceremony undergone by upper caste youths, and Shrad, paying homage to a deceased individual. According to the findings of a 1995 national research paper, for most people in India, a betrothal of a young couple, placing an expectation upon an exact date and time for a future wedding, was a matter decided by parents in consultation with astrologers. How random. A significant reduction in the proportion of arranged marriages has however taken place since 1995, reflecting an incremental change. Muslims practice a series of life cycle rituals that differ from those of Hindus, Jains, and Buddhists. Several rituals to mark the first days of life, including the whispering call to prayer, first bath, and shaving of the head. Religious instruction begins early. Male circumcision usually takes place at birth. In some families, it may be delayed until after the onset of puberty. Marriage requires a payment by the husband to the wife, called mehr, and the solemnization of a marital contract in a social gathering. After the burial of the dead, friends and relatives gather to console the bereaved, read and recite the Quran, and pray for the soul of the deceased. Indian Islam is distinguished by the emphasis it places on shrines commemorating great Sufi saints. Now let's talk about the pilgrimages. Many Hindu families have their own family Tirumala, Tirupati, home to the Tirumala Venkatsewara Temple, and Katra, home to the Vaishnav Devi Temple. Man, there seems to be so many different temples and celebrations, and I'm sure they're all really beautiful. I don't know if many of you have been to a temple or seen one even from afar, but temples come in, all shapes and sizes, and I'm sure that this would be a really interesting experience to be able to go through and see the culture and the architecture. Badrinath, Puri, Dwarka, and Rameswaram compose the major pilgrimage circuit of Jharkhand, hosting the four holiest Hindu temples: Badrinath Temple, Jagannath Temple, Dwarkadish Temple, and Ramanath Aswami Temple, respectively. The Himalayan towns of Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, and Yamunotri compose the smaller Chotachardham pilgrimage circuit. The Kumbh Mela, the Pitcher Festival, is one of the holiest of Hindu pilgrimages that is held every 4 years. The location is rotated amongst Allahabad, Haridwar, Nashik, and Ujjain. The Thalai Mai Pathi and Swamithiop is the leading pilgrim centre for the Ayatthavasis. Interesting. I wonder what a pilgrim centre actually is like in general. 7 of the 8 great places of Buddhism are in India. Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, and Kushnika are the places where important events in the lives of Gautama Buddha took place. Sanchi hosts a Buddhist stupa erected by the Emperor Asoka. Many Buddhist monasteries dot the Himalayan foothills of India, where Buddhism remains a major presence. These include the Ramtek Monastery, the Entry Monastery, and Pematigis Monastery in Sikkim, the Tawang Monastery in Arunachal Pradesh, the Kai Monastery in Tabu Monastery in Spiti, the Gum Monastery in Darjeeling, and Dupandara Monastery in Kalimpong, the Thixi Monastery in Leh, the Namgyal Monastery in Dharamshala, among many others. For Muslims, the Dargah Sharif of Quasar Moinuddin Chisti in Amjar is a major pilgrimage site. Other Islamic pilgrimages include those in the tomb of Sheikh Salim Chisti in Fatehpur Sikri, Jama Masjid in Delhi, and to Haji Ali Dargah in Mumbai, Dilwara temples in Mount Abu, Palitana, Pavupuri, Girnar, and Shravan Belagola are notable pilgrimage sites in Jainism. The Harmandir Sahib in Amritsar is the most sacred Gurdwara of Sikhism. Relatively new pilgrimage sites include the Samadhi of Meher Baba in Meherabad, which is visited by his followers from around the world, and the Sai Baba temple in Shirdi. Interesting. And then we've got another subsection called Minority Beliefs and Sects. This should be interesting. Hinduism contains many different subcultures, just like most other religions, of course. The major aspects outlined above hold true for the majority of the Hindu population, but not all. Just as each state is home to an individual language, Hinduism sacred ornament to every meal. Before and after a meal, an individual is expected to pour water in the palms of their right hand and sip the water 3 times. This is often seen as a purification gesture. Food is regarded as being holy, and every individual must purify themselves before touching their food. Other minor sects in India carry no specific name, but they are uniquely identified by the last names of each family. This convention is used more frequently in South India than in North India. For example, a relatively prominent sect in southern India prohibits making important decisions, commencing new tasks, and doing other intellectually or spiritually engaged actions after sunset. Historians believe that this tradition was derived from the concept of Rahu Kalam, in which the Hindus believe that a specific period of the day is inauspicious. Stringent family beliefs are thought to have led to the development of a more constrained religious hierarchy. Over time, this belief was extended to discourage taking major actions and even staying awake for long periods after sunset. Examples of families which follow this tradition include Kudivada, Padalabi, Pantham, and Keshap. And now we have the very last section, which is religion and politics, starting with the subsection politics. Religious politics, particularly that expressed by the Indian Hindutva movement, has strongly influenced Indian politics in the last quarter of the 20th century. Many of the elements underlying India's casteism and communalism originated during the colonial era, when the colonial government frequently politicized religion in an attempt to stave off increasing nationalistic sentiments in India. The Indian Council's Act of 1909, widely known as the Morley Minto Reforms Act, which established separate Hindu and Muslim electorates for the imperial legislature and provincial councils, were particularly divisive and increasing tensions between the two communities due to the high degree of oppression faced by the lower castes. The Constitution of India included provisions for affirmative action for certain sections of Indian society. Many states ruled by the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, introduced laws that made conversion more difficult. They assert that such conversions are often forced or allured. The BJP, a national political party, also gained widespread media attention after its leaders associated themselves with Ram Janmabhoomi movement and other prominent religious issues. A well-known accusation that Indian political parties make for their rivals is that they play vote bank politics, meaning give political support to issues for the sole purpose of gaining the votes for members of a particular community. Both the Congress Party and the BJP have been accused of exploiting the people by indulging in vote bank politics. The Shah Banu case, a divorce lawsuit, generated much controversy when the Congress was accused of appeasing the Muslim orthodoxy by bringing in a parliamentary amendment to negate the Supreme Court's decision. After the 2002 Gujarat violence, there were allegations of political parties indulging in vote bank politics. I've never heard of vote bank politics. Caste-based politics is also important in India. Caste-based discrimination and the reservation system continues to be major issues that are hotly debated. That's definitely true. Okay. 1947, India was partitioned along religious lines in two states: the Muslim-majority Dominion of Pakistan, comprising what is now the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and the People's Republic of Bangladesh, and the Hindu-majority Union of India, later the Republic of India. The partition led to rioting amongst Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs in Punjab, Bengal, Delhi and other parts of India. 500,000 died as a result of the violence. Holy crap. 12 million refugees that moved between the newly founded nations of India and Pakistan composed one of the largest mass migrations in modern history. Since its independence, India has periodically witnessed large-scale violence sparked by underlying tensions between the sections of its majority Hindu and minority Muslim communities. The Republic of India is secular. The Indian government recognizes no official religion. We move now to communal conflicts. Communal conflicts have periodically plagued India since it became independent in 1947. The roots of such strife lie largely in the underlying tensions between sections of its majority Hindu and minority Muslim communities, which emerged under the Raj and during the bloody partition of India. Such conflict also stems from the competing ideologies of Hindu nationalism versus Islamic fundamentalism. Both are prevalent in parts of the Hindu and Muslim populations. This issue has plagued India since before independence. The lack of education among the masses and the ease with which corrupt politicians can take advantage of the same has been attributed as the major reason for religious conflicts in India. Even though freedom of religion is an integral part of the Indian constitution, the inability to hold a communal mob accountable for its collective actions has limited the exercise of religious freedom in India. It's a bit of a confusing statement, I think, but it seems interesting. Alongside other major Indian independence leaders, Mahatma Gandhi and his Shanti Sainis, peace soldiers, Shanti Sainiks, worked to quell early outbreaks of religious conflict in Bengal, including riots in Calcutta, now in West Bengal, and Noakhali district in modern-day Bangladesh, that accompanied Muhammad Ali Jinnah's Direct Action Day, which was launched on the 16th of August 1946. These conflicts, waged largely with rocks and knives and accompanied by widespread looting and arson, were crude affairs. Explosives and firearms, which are rarely found in India, were far less likely to be used. Major post-independent communal conflicts include the 1984 anti-Sikh riots, which followed Operation Blue Star by the Indian Army. Heavy artillery, tanks and helicopters were employed against the Sikh partisans inside the Harimandir Sahib, causing heavy damage to the Sikhism's holiest Gurdwara. According to the Indian government estimates, the assault caused the deaths of up to 100 soldiers, 250 militants, and hundreds of civilians. That's terrible. This triggered Indira Gandhi's assassination by her outraged Sikh bodyguards on the 31st of October 1984, which was set off a 4-day period during which Sikhs were massacred. The government of India reported 2,700 Sikhs' deaths. However, human rights organisations and newspapers report the death toll to be 10 to 17,000. In the aftermath of the riot, the government of India reported organised. The collusion of political officials in the massacres and the failure to prosecute any killers alienated normal Sikhs and increased support for the Khalistan movement. The Akal Takht, the government religious body of Sikhism, considers the killings to be a genocide. Other incidents include the 1992 Bombay riots that followed the demolition of the Babri Mosque as a result of the Adyar debate, and the 2002 Gujarat violence where 790 Muslims and 254 Hindus were killed, and which was preceded by the Godhra train burning. Terrorist activities such as the 2005 Ram Jamudi attack in Ayodhya and the 2006 Varanasi bombings, the 2006 Shama Masjid explosions, and the 2006 Mumbai train bombings are often blamed on communalism. Lesser incidents plague many towns and villages. The representative was the killing of 5 people in Mao, Uttar Pradesh, during Hindu-Muslim rioting, which was triggered by the proposed celebration of a Hindu festival. Very, very lastly, demand for Hindu Rashtra. The All-Hindu Convention demands that India should be declared Hindu state officially, as well as various pro-Hindu and patriotic organizations all over India and abroad are striving to establish Hindu Rashtra. Earlier Saint Mahomet Paramhans Das of Tapasvi Kavansavi Ayodhya has written a letter to India's President Ram Nath Kovind listing his 7 demands, and one of them is to declare India as a Hindu state. Copies of the letter have been forwarded to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, and District Magistrate of Ayodhya. There is no mention of the term basic structure anywhere in the Indian Constitution. The idea that Parliament cannot introduce laws that would amend the basic overall structure of the Constitution evolved gradually over time. Constitutionally speaking, the declaration of a Hindu Rashtra would merely require a 15-judge Supreme Court bench to overrule the basic structure limitation on the Parliament's power to amend the Constitution. However, Project Hindu Rashtra Bill has been stopped before the 2024 election, which is also an ultimate goal for upcoming Lok Sabha election. Earlier, Uttar Pradesh BJP MLA Surendra Singh has also given a hint that by 2024, India will be officially declared a Hindu nation. Interesting. A super interesting read. And it did get a little bit controversial there at the end, actually. But I hope that, regardless of that, you were able to stick it out and hang out with me. Have a nice time. A good pause. A good break. I know that some of you have been having a rough time. There are a few of you who medically have some serious things going on. And, if you're ever having a bad time, feel free to leave in the comments what's going on, or that you're having a bad time, or directly message me through any of my social media, or email SomeReadingsASMR